Hello and welcome to Learn Electrics. In this video we will look at two-way split load consumer units. We are sometimes asked, how do I assemble a two-way split load board and how do I wire all the parts together? Let's look first at what we want to achieve, and personally I always begin with a quick sketch of how the finished circuit should be assembled. We have one main switch and two RCDs attached to it. Each RCD protects 5 MCBs, in other words, half the consumer unit each. The board is split between the two RCDs. We will go through each step of the assembly and the wiring in stages. We will assume that the consumer unit is made of metal, as all new ones should be nowadays. Beginning with an empty consumer unit or board, what have we got? In the centre is a DIN rail. DIN means something in German. We just need to know that this is the rail that we use to hold all of our breakers and RCDs in place. It is a standard size throughout the industry. Top left we can see the earth bar, and some holes in the earth bar will be larger in order to accommodate the main earth and the main bonding cables. Top right are 3 neutral bars, and sometimes these are linked with a short copper bar. These copper links must be removed for a two-way split board. Understanding these neutral bars is so important. The bar on the right, marked neutral on our drawing, is what we will call the main neutral. The 2 bars marked N1 and N2 are the neutrals for RCD1 and RCD2 respectively, and we must wire these in a certain order that keeps the 2 halves of the installation separate from each other. Begin with installing the main switch. This will most times be a BS-EN 60947-3 device, and we have chosen to install the switch on the right hand side. This will control all the electricity to this installation. It is often easier to install the meter tails at this point before putting the breakers and the RCDs into the board. The meter tails will pass behind the DIN rail, and in our case the phase or line will be on the left of the switch and the neutral on the right. The main earth can be installed into the large hole reserved for it in the earth bar. Note that both phase and neutral meter tails and the main earth must all pass together through the same hole in the consumer unit. They must not pass through separate holes. Next, connect the main neutral from the bottom of the main switch to the main neutral bar. The next step is to install the first half of the split board. This will be RCD number 1 and the 5 circuit breakers. Now install the second block with RCD number 2 and the 5 breakers that make up that half. We can install the phase or line cables from the bottom of the main switch to the top of the first RCD, and then loop the second phase cable across to the second RCD. Each RCD now has a supply from the main switch. Take a neutral cable from the top of each RCD into the main neutral bar. The main neutral, not N1 or N2. Now, from the bottom of RCD 1, install a neutral cable into the N1 bar, and from the bottom of RCD 2, a neutral cable into the N2 bar. Now we can install the bus bars, and these are solid copper strips that bus the electric into each circuit breaker. These may need trimming to size for your board. Bus bar 1 will connect from the bottom of RCD 1 into the bottom of the 5 breakers that are protected by RCD 1, and bus bar 2 is installed the same way between the bottom of RCD number 2 into the 5 breakers protected by RCD 2. Health and safety. Do not forget to install the plastic bus bar cover. The bus bars will be live when the board is energised, and we must take precautions to prevent electric shocks from accidental contact. And that is the consumer unit wiring completed. If we connect a lamp into the circuit, we can see the route of electricity through the various wires of the circuit. We have kept things simple to show you this, so there is no light switch. Electricity will enter the consumer unit along the main phase tail at arrow number 1 and enter the phase terminal of the main switch at arrow number 2. Follow arrow number 3 through the main switch, out of the bottom of the main switch and along the phase wire at arrow 4 and into the top of RCD1 at arrow number 5, before looping along to the top of RCD2 at arrow number 6. The electricity will pass through RCD number 2 by following arrow 7 and onto the bus bar, and then along the bus bar and into the breaker at arrow number 8. Follow arrow number 9 through the breaker, where the electricity flows along the brown wire and through the twin and earth cable at arrow 10, out of the consumer unit at arrow number 11 and towards the light fitting. The light will light up at arrow 12. The electricity will return back along the neutral of the twin and earth following the arrow number 13 and head towards the N2 bar at arrow 14. This is important. The blue neutral must go to N2 because the phase came from RCD2. You will have problems if it is not wired this way. Arrow 15 shows the electricity flowing from N2 into the bottom of RCD number 2 and then up through RCD2 at arrow 16. The electricity leaves RCD2 and follows arrow 17 to the main neutral bar, and then along the main neutral at arrow 18 and into the bottom of the main switch. Up through the main switch by arrow 19 and along the neutral tail out of the consumer unit following arrow number 20. And that is all there is to wiring up a two-way split load board. Take each stage as small steps and gradually build up the whole board. Whatever cables leave a breaker on the RCD1 side must return to the neutral numbered N1, and the circuits that leave the breakers on the RCD2 side must return to the neutral numbered N2. If you get this stage wrong, the RCDs will immediately trip when the circuit is switched on. Well, that's it. We hope that you found this video from Learn Electrics both useful and enjoyable, and that you have added more knowledge to your mental toolbox. By clicking on subscribe below, you will have access to all of our Tech Tips videos, and you will also ensure that you don't miss our next weekly video. Clicking on subscribe also helps us, and we do appreciate that small act. It does make us feel that our effort is worthwhile. Typing in Learn Electrics, all one word, into the YouTube search bar will also give you access to all the videos. And we also have Tech Tips articles on our website, which can be found at www.learnelectrics.com. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again very soon.